Hey, what's going on guys, Migzuba here. And in today's video, it's going to be a sort of follow-up to my last video on how to get into or farm the historic format. And basically, this is the deck that I ran in the event over the course of about a day and a half, because that's how long I played the event for, or, well, not consistently, but over the course of a day and a half. I did 4 runs, went 8-2, 6-3, sorry, I did go 6-3, but I went exactly 8-2, 5-3, 6-3, and then 6-3 again. So this deck has proven to have some fair results, and the reason I picked it is because it was the most budget deck for my collection. I think the entire thing costed me 3 rare wildcards, which when I started farming I had 25, now I have 34. I also had 25 mythics, now I have 29, along with about give or take 80 packs worth of historic cards, and the same amount of gold, actually 500 more than I started with, so great success. And if any of you played during the past format pre-rotation, you probably have a lot, if not almost all of these cards, so I think it's a really good budget deck. Yeah, so I basically got the skeleton from Paulo Vitor Damarosa off MTGA's Zone, and I think I even show his deck in my other video, but we'll get into it. Basically, it's very standard GRUUL stuff. I've got the Llanowar Elves to curve you into turn 3 big boys. Got the Pelt Collector, solid 1-drop, grows as you play the deck out. Scavenging Ooze in Historic, there's plenty of graveyard threats. Our mana is better, so we can more reliably get that exile. BTE, you have some crazy turns where you spam BTEs into other cards. Voltic Brawler, surprisingly good card. 2 mana essentially for a 4/3 on offense is great, and if they ever kill your brawler, your energy stacks, so it fuels any future brawlers. Bone Crusher Giant, you guys know this from Standard, great card. Same for the Mammoth. Domodorosa's deck was one of the only decks I saw running the Mammoth, and I do like it, even though we're not playing the Great Henge in the deck. It helps us run 24 lands. Oh, it says 20, but we have 2 DFCs and still have a threat. This deck isn't all in on Coco, which is one thing that also drew me towards it, but I felt like the more I played it, the more Cocos I wanted. So I wound up with 3 in the main and sideboard. Spellbreaker, great hit off Coco. 3 mana 4/4 or 3 mana Haste Trampler, gives you hexproof on your turn, is hexproof on your turn, amazing card. Questing Beast, I think Vito's list had 3 Questing Beast and 1 Coco. I've gone for a 2-2 split in the main board. I do like Coco, but Questing Beast honestly can close out games, whereas Coco whiffs a surprisingly large amount of the time, and it's not that the deck is poorly built around it. The only card that really, like, that actually make it whiff are the lands, Cleave, or other Cocos. So, you know, for Cleave, because we just want to get our opponents dead. Mana base, I think, is a fairly standard GRUUL mana base. We got a couple forests and mountains, and the deserts. This one, Bolt's Face. This one is a giant growth on a land. Playing Historic, I absolutely love these deserts. They're super clutch, and they're also uncommons, so easy crafts. Pathways from Standard, Stomping Ground from Old Standard, and Smashing from New Standard. Sideboard is also super budget. 1 Magma Spray. This is great against any cat oven thing. Basically just a shock that can't hit face and exiles. Good card. Red Cap Melee against goblins. Oh, this is also pretty good against goblins. But yeah, goblins is a huge problem, so Red Cap Melee. 1 Grafdigger's Cage. A lot of these GRUUL decks don't run it, but the way I've been playing it is I've been cutting Cocos and putting in Grafdigger's Cage in matchups where the Grafdigger's Cage benefits you more than the Cocos, as in the cage would hurt the opponent more than you not having Cocos in a deck. For example, sacrifice lists. You can beat those without Coco, and if you have a cage down, then they're in a world of trouble. Abrade, removal, spell, and artifact hate in 1, really solid. Harbinger. Another thing that drew me towards this deck, pretty budget card because it's a rare from the current standard, so if you play during M21, you probably have at least 2 of these. Basically, any deck that is main removal source is black, this card's an absolute house against, and it's a pretty easy sideboard swap. Bone Crusher Giant for it, so, you know, because the decks that are typically going to be heavy on black removal are control decks, and typically they're not going to have great targets. Rexage is something I added. I was facing a lot of Azorius control, and I felt like I wanted artifact hate. Actually enchantment hate, and Rexage is that on a body. Clothis, you from standard graveyard hate can animate it. The other Coco, if we're going that route, you can cut some questing beasts, grab a Coco. And on Garrick, I think I would prefer Chandra in this spot, but the list I pretty much net decked was winning Garrick, and honestly, it did win me 2 or 3 games, and every time I drew it, if I wasn't losing, I mean, I drew it once when I was just mana screwed on 2 and I lost, but I would have lost regardless if this was anything else. But yeah, helped me win a number of games, so I kept it in. Very happy with how Garrick performed. So that's the list, guys. We will be playing it in a best of 3 historic event to sort of keep up the farming attitude from my last video. And yeah, leave a like if you enjoy the deck. It will be in the description below as always, and consider subscribing. It really does motivate me to make more content, especially with the release of Kaldheim right around the corner. Got plenty of ideas, and I'm super excited to make more decks for you guys. So let's get into some games. So, traditional historic event, 2 wins and you break even on gold, costs 1,000 to enter. 3 wins, we start profiting. Let's get right into it. Okay, on the play, guys. Hand looks pretty good. Minus a potential tap land, we are doing it. Start with Pelt Collector. And this is technically my 3rd game in a GRUUL mirror. First one was against Mono Red Burn, which, as you can imagine how that went, it's not very good. Got my face torn off because I couldn't react quickly enough, or couldn't kill them fast enough, and the opponent did draw the nuts, especially game 2. But yeah, my other game 2-0'd a sack deck, but it was very budget. It just wasn't a good game. Playing the Brawler here first because ideally I go for Mammoth into company, and then I kind of clean up with Ooze. I like the Branch Walker in GRUUL. I think that's a really cool addition. Alright, so how are we doing this? BTE into Ooze into tapped Mammoth to make sure we can Coco on time. I don't hate it. I do not hate it. I think we start with a Brawler attack. See if the opponent wants to trade for anything. I've also been mana screwed both directions so many times in this matchup that I am sometimes really worried about hitting my lands, sometimes relatively relieved to not find any. Alright, so we'll start with the BT. I think that's for sure. Now the question is, Scavenging Ooze tapped Mammoth or Mammoth pass? I think this is definitely the less greedy play. Like, if we find another land after this, like, we're fully chilling. But for the moment, I think it is just the Ooze. And Mammoth tapped. I could have also played this untapped and started eating Graveyard. But yeah, we knew the opponent had a BTE because of the Explore mechanic, which honestly is a really cool addition. Zerta, okay, so the opponent can either try to be aggressive or just build up a bigger board. And I think the bigger board is the way to go, but the opponent chooses aggression. I'm not sure why I can just take this trade. Or not even, I could take that free block. And yeah, okay, so we don't even get quote-unquote rewarded. Like, we don't draw the land. We get rewarded because you don't draw the land, but if I had, I would have felt pretty bad. So we can Coco. We can Coco pre-combat, but I think I wouldn't even attack with any haste I got, so I think I played this in pass. But first we can attack with these two. I'm not willing to offer the Ooze, making Coco really obvious, but that's fine. Opponent takes the trade. Shotgun the Stomping Ground past the turn. If we ever hit a Bone Crusher Giant off the Coco, then it grows the Pelt Collector. And I'm glad I'm facing a real historic deck. The other one I was facing, the Rakdos one, did not... I don't think it had any historic cards, honestly. Alright, resolves. Hey, they still don't know we have Coco, despite making it very obvious with our play patterns, because Ooze is technically holding priority, and they still attack with the Pelt Collector. So, okay, can we punish... We can go for Brawler and Bone Crusher Giant, which isn't bad. Can go for Pelt Collector. We already have we have 2 Ooze. I don't think I'm going for that. I think it's just Bone Crusher Giant and Brawler. And do I want to take any blocks? I don't think so. I think I'm very happy being offensive. And yeah, let's just all out. If I had drawn Cleave there, we're super happy. And this is definitely presenting lethal. Opponent does have to throw some stuff away. Not pumping the Ooze just yet in case they want to throw the Pelt Collector in front of it. Yup. No? Okay, they're blocking the Bone Crusher Giant. And yeah, okay, so they unblock the Ooze with the Pelt Collector anyways. I mean, opponent's very uncertain about this block. I mean, I'm gonna attack with the... Now they just get trampled over, and I can pump this pretty much just as high. And I think I value big Ooze over playing other Ooze. So we're just gonna pump this Ooze to the sky. Okay, so 1 more power and toughness versus 2 on the board. You know what? If I had more green mana, then I had lethal anyways. Duh, sorry. I'm not used to playing aggressive decks, as you guys might be able to tell. But hey, if I had missed lethal there, I mean, the opponent could have blocked better, but I would have felt real bad. And okay, we're on the draw, meaning we want to take a more defensive stance. So we can drop off Cleaves, drop off a Questing Beast, and change it for a Coco. We want a Braids, we want 1 Red Cap melee, and 1 Magma Spray. Only 1 Red Cap melee I found in the GRUUL mirrors, because it does hit enough stuff, but... Oh, it hits a lot of stuff, but not enough to warrant 2 spots. So 2 Brawlers down. And now... Actually, it is the 3rd Brawler, because we are on the draw, for sure. And... This is good. All of this stuff is pretty good. One more cut. It could just be the Questing Beast, but the Questing Beast trades up. And if a Questing Beast holding a Cleave, that's really solid. I do like the 1 of, even on the draw. I like all the 1 drops. 2 drops are probably... 2 or 3 drops is where the cut's coming from. Pardon me, guys. I'm still kind of new to Historic. I do play best of 3, but... I'm not used to sideboarding with this deck particularly. I'm thinking about one of these 2 being dropped off. Maybe it is just the 4th Brawler, but it grows the Pelt Collector on 3. Ooh. Alright, I'll drop off 1 Ooze because they're not a graveyard deck. That should be fine. Although, as you guys saw, Ooze can just grow really, really big. So on the draw, I kind of try to make my strategy more GRUUL control-y. I cut down the top end, more aggressive stuff, and I add a lot more low curve interaction. And if that's not the right way to play it, then hey, by all means, fill me in. But it's been working out for me, so... Shit, sorry guys, just dropped my phone. Checking the time, you know, waiting for the opponent to select whether they'd like to play first, which, as you guys know, not much of a decision. Come on, guys. We play decks with greater decisions than this every day. What's it gonna be, fool? I do like the boards that we get for playing in these challenges, and I do respect the guy for trying out some explore stuff, although, I mean, explore is more of a grindy mechanic, but a like the logic with the Volcanic Brawler is 2 mana 4/3 attacking is really good. The Merfolk Branchwalker is a 2 mana 2/1 and maybe 3/2 that might get you value, so I can see the appeal. And opponent is on the rope, quite literally. I'm always a sucker for the Explore cards. It's one of the first paper Magic decks I started playing. I know, shock factor, I haven't been playing Magic all that long, but I've been playing card games my whole life. Like, ever since I was 5 years old, I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and shit like that, so, you know, they are similar enough. And, okay, so opponent doesn't actually rope out. Oh man, this is close to a mold, but it's not. We have enough lands, BT doesn't actually get us any value. And we have all our colors. Guys, I've had games against Blue-White Control where I had 13 lands on the board and 38 cards in my deck, and I just want to cry. It's very sedge. So is the opponent going to salt rope me game 3? Man, I'm about to fly through this challenge without actually playing any Magic. Well, guys, I mean, the opponent might just rope me out here, which would feel pretty weird. I haven't had to edit many rope outs, but hey, we take these free gold. Purely chillin'. And that's the scoop rope. We did it, guys. Easy game 2, no stress. Alright guys, on the draw, opponent has been Mythic Championship qualified. So slow hand, but I think it's on the cusp enough that we keep it. Against Sultai. Feels bad. I mean, maybe not Sultai, but probably Sultai. Thoughtseize. Oh, I mean, they can take my 2-drop, but I have a replacement. So at least that's the bright side. They can't just completely screw up my curve. Yeah, take the 3-drop. I mean, we can just go Brawler into Brawler at that point. And the opponent didn't turn 1 Thoughtseize me. Unless they just drawn it, which, that makes sense. Playing Historic, you always gotta get used to those beautiful turn 3 Thoughtseizes. Feel like ass. Alright, Narset. Just throwing Narset away completely. And a Maelstrom Pulse. Sedge. Alright, so we just take out Narset. Decline to do that. And I don't even think I can play my Brawler because they're gonna 3-mana wipe it. So, you know, we can always force them into that play, but that just doesn't feel very good. So, you know. Also, it's a sorcery. So, they can still cast it, but they know I have another Brawler. Yep. Let's see if we can resolve Questing Beast. Tail's End. F. And we'll get in there with the Brawler. Chip away at that life total. They know about cleave, so they know that if we hit land 5, we can cleave them for 10. So that might be a big enough incentive to just Maelstrom Pulse 1 Brawler. We'll see. Nissa. Fuck. That's one thing I don't miss facing. I mean, they animate the land, and can't really do anything past that. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize my cleave. Oh, okay. Alright, man. Fair enough. We can take out Nissa, though, right? Yeah. So we start here, then we go... I go... to... here. Submit. Yeah, auto pay. Then we attack the Nissa. Take that action. Nissa down. Okay. Answered Nissa in one turn. And they took out Cleave, so we're not looking too bad. Still can't play the second brawler. The blocks. Unless they want to Maelstrom Pulse it right now, which I don't know why they would. More land. Very nice. Can sacrifice my Oasis to beef up my Llanowar Elves. That might be the plan. We'll keep the red one because bolting face might be important. Let's get some damage in. You want to take that block? You do. Alright. So we bolt in our other volcanic brawler, which they know about. I guess they were just hoping I didn't have a land to play it. We just made Maelstrom Pulse look embarrassingly bad. Okay, if the opponent draws a land, they can escape Uro. And like an absolute beast, they do. Okay, so what do I need off the top? Cleave. Cleave off the top, easy. Land again, yep. BTE does nothing. Nice. Very good. I can shoot them in the face with this. I don't even think that's worth it. I think the mana is better at this point. Jeez, heal up to 20. Play a land. Do I even mass block? Nope. Take the damage and hope to draw out of it. We'd Coco, Cleave, all that stuff. For easy forest, guys. Okay. Play the energy. That attack has been completely nullified by Uro. Hold land in case they decide to Thoughtseize me. Alright, they draw 3. They pay 3 to draw, so that's good, at least. Hold Llanowar Elves back so we're not dead on board. Fuck. Oh man. I mean, to be fair, we're probably losing that game anyways, but alas. What can you do? Sultai goes super hard. Alright. Game 2. Harbinger. Coco. Clothis. Garrick. Now for the cuts. Bone Crusher Giant. Easy cut. Nothing really to stomp. 1 cleave, because they're going to try to kill all my creatures. And Tail's End is a card. Probably just 1 Clothis, honestly. 2 is better against sacrifice. They can actually... Can they remove Clothis? I'm not sure, but the only real target is Uro, and we have 4 Ooze, so, you know. Alright, give me a crazy curve. Well, it's not a crazy curve, but it's a very good curve. Let's go. Turn 1 Thoughtseize me. You won't. That's right, you won't. I can get Clothis ticking right now. But there's nothing in the yard, but that might just be good enough to get us there eventually. Pretty defensive stance, but I really do think Clothis could put in enough work. Okay. Fair enough. Vault Collector. Resolves. Spellbreaker. Haste. Okay. Growth Spiral. Well, opponent is ramping. So Cry takes out Vault Collector and Llanowar Elves. Uro, perfect. I could have gone for a more offensive line there and have gone for turn 2 Spellbreaker, just try to push through damage, but I think Colossus being there, chipping the opponent away every turn is better. And yeah, here it chips at their health for 2, exiles Uro, and if they don't deal with anything on my board, which is very unlikely, then we get to animate it, which is pretty cool. And as you can see, reading Colossus feels good. My turn. Aether Gust. Yeah. I think we keep. Gotta play the runes. What is the opponent going to have? I mean, Extinction Event's just brutal, right? I get in for 3, 6, 9 right here. Maybe I just play the Brawler and pass. Play Brawler, attack the other things, hold the Spellbreaker, or just go all out and attack. I've seen these lists run Extinction Event. I've seen them run Cry, which, I mean, this grows the Pelt Collector. I think whatever we do, we're playing this Brawler pre-combat. And now, are we slapping the opponent in the face for 9? Or are we slapping them for 7 and holding a Spellbreaker? Opponent can't escape Uro just yet, but they're getting close. I think if they sweep us, it's just going to feel so much worse. So we just go like that and use our line order elves to get us a point of damage. Okay, opponent Uros. Tap land. Not having to pay life, or choosing not to pay life, I guess, is also putting us a bit behind. Alright, tap land again. What you have? You have 2 mana. If they're holding up tails, then they're dead. They need removal. Eliminate. Alright, eliminate is removal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, boys. Alright, just get the... I think I have to get the Colossus down, right? I mean, they escape Uro, gain some life back, but this will at least start picking at them. Down to 5, okay. Gust kind of making Colossus look embarrassing. Uro escapes everything else. And is there a pause? There is a pause, so opponent can play a land. There it is. Ooze. Awkward. Puts them to 9. And Colossus effectively does nothing. Unless they crack that passage, which they don't. Okay, so Spellbreaker animates Colossus. Spellbreaker, haste, attack, all opponent eats 3, 6, they take 4. That's no good. I mean, we play it out, right? If I attack with everything, I'll collect. I get him for 5. I think we just sit back, no attacks. We can block Uro forever. And the opponent's running low on cards. If they sweep us, they sweep their own cards in the process. I mean, they can probably come back better than we can from that. I mean, opponent drew a land, so... I think I just take this. I could trade away the Uro. But I think this is fine. I do still think it's correct for them to attack, but they lose a blocker. And opponent's cracking the passage, trying to keep the graveyards empty. which I can completely respect. So what do you have? What do you have? Languish. Nice. I mean, Uro dies with it. Other Uro. So this player's running Languish and not Extinction Event. Played wrong around the wrong thing. We will eat an Uro, unsurprisingly. And try to get in there with a Spellbreaker. Growth Spiral, okay. That's so no lands in the opponent's hand. Not good. Eliminate. Does eliminate bring back Uro? It does. I mean, we can't just not play our cards and hope they don't reanimate Uro. That's just not a realistic way to play. Ooze. Smashing. Yeah. Oozes in response. Jeez, guys, this just went poorly. Opponent had all the answers, and now we're just gonna lose from here. Opponent's been playing around Clothis. The fact that they could reanimate that Uro last turn essentially nullifies all of the work we did. That Languish came in super big. I don't know. We can't just not play our creatures and sit back while they kill us, but felt pretty bad. Oh, and there's a Nissa, so we are out of here. Alright guys, and we are back. So went 2-2 in that historic event. Lost to Burn and Sultai, beat quote-unquote Rakdos. It was really what jank, guys. It was not much of a challenge. And a GRUUL Mirror, where I'm pretty sure the guy just rage quit. But yeah, aside from that, this deck really has been effective for me. You can make any type of changes you want. The historic metagame is super wide, and I am by no means an expert on it. And I have been playing it a lot these past 2-3 days, but that's about to slow down with the release of Kaldheim coming around the corner. But anyways, guys, if you are looking to get into Historic and are just looking for a fun, cheap deck to try out, or I say cheap, relatively budget deck to try out, granted that you played the last standard format, then I do recommend this one. I think you'll be pretty surprised with how consistently it wins. Maybe work on the sideboard plan. I don't think I've quite mastered it, and you can definitely make some changes here too. Hey, I'll be the first to admit I can improve, and hey, pretty much everybody can. So that's it for this video, guys. Deck list will be in the description down below as always. Let me know what you guys thought of my first best of 3 historic video on the channel, and I will hopefully catch you in the next one with some Kaldheim. Peace out.